Welcome to our first Foolhardy Festival.
And the women tuck their hair like they're trying to prove it won't fall out.
Is it time to release another easy listen?
Yeah, I just do cute comedy, that's what I do. I go,
Yeah, we have another show.
Now our apartment is...
the whole place is bigger. The people are bigger for sure. And no one knows what you're talking about if you ever could do in a job. This could be Rotterdam or anywhere. Liverpool or Rome. Because Rotterdam is anywhere. Anywhere alone.
I was like, I do any other.
Anywhere alone.
Just thanks everyone for coming along. Please come along all and join us on the discovery of comedy. Cheers, everyone.
But I try to stay positive about these things. I feel like a lot of life's the way you look at it, you know? And the way I look at it, my hand comes with a built-in vibrator function. Yay. Just thought I'd throw that one out there. I am single. Bisexual. Like, not very choosy at all. And I think there are some people here who I did not sleep with during the years 2012 to 2014.
I actually write material because comedy is subjective. What's funny to you might be funny to you, might be funny to you, might be funny to you, hopefully funny to Ollie. But like, I'll give you an example of why it's subjective. I used to go to school with a lad who was lactose intolerant, and we always used to call him Mr. Milky Shits. And hilarious for us, but years of therapy for him. We shortened it to Milky after a while to be less cruel, but he didn't like that either, but fuck him anyway. He can't even eat cheese as well.
Research on the internet because I don't leave the house much because I'm an introvert. If you don't know what an introvert is, an extrovert is someone who gains energy from being around other people, and an introvert is someone who gains energy from telling you that they're an introvert. And that's my one. I am just buzzing right now. So I find parties quite difficult. I don't get invited to many anymore, to be honest. I'm 37, it's been a while. But when I did, I needed a way to get out of conversations. When I'd done my two questions that I do, which is what's your job and do you like your job? If I have to get to a third question, things are going to get weird. I'll be like, does your face bring you joy? I don't know.
Goblins, goblins, goblins! Cut the track. Don't need to hear myself sing. Day 600,004 of my isolation. Knock, knock, dear diary. It's me, Enya, your oldest friend. Enya Fodrigin Nivrianen. Though I know she's just you and I here in my high tower at the edge of the world, Killiney, County Dublin. But if I do not say my full name thrice times a day, the veil between worlds becomes thin. Enya Fodrigin Nivrianen. Enya Fodrigin Nivrianen.
some lad down there thinks I'm hammered. My name is Aidan Green. The first thing I always have to say is that I have a stammer. I was supposed to be doing 20 minutes, now I'm only doing 6. So that'll probably just be one joke. That's it. So it's good to be doing live comedy again. I did a lot of gigs on Zoom, and because of my stammer, they weren't great, okay? Every gig I did on Zoom, I could see everyone's face on the screen, and I could see every single one of them trying to figure out whether I was stammering or buffering. At one stage, one of them left his microphone on, and I heard him say, "Lads, I wonder if it's a hate crime if I wonder if it's a hate crime if I switch him off and back on again. Now, he didn't also have a stammer. That would have been a massive coincidence.
And then it was always my obsession, and and I suppose comedy was a way I used comedy in my everyday life from a very early age to mostly deflect from bullying and so on. Being a very small, skinny ginger child, you tend to draw bullies like moths to a flame.
A man, it's usually very, very kind of like laddie, sexual kind of humor, and kind of like the stuff that is funny when you've had it like 3 or 4 pints on you and you're out for a Friday night, and it's kind of like rough and ready jokes and slagging off and all that sort of thing. And that's like, that is great. It's not like there's a problem with that. But I do think back a while ago, that was very much what was on. Now it is a bit of what is on, and then there's, people talking about, people talking about their mental health, people talking about, you've got a lot of queer acts talking about their identities, you've got people who are doing kind of stuff that's like got a little bit more of like clown work and like stranger stuff just on stage in front of you with a little bit more kind of artifice and things like that.
Sometimes I'm not wearing braces and people don't realise that I'm queer. And they'll come up to me after the gig, people who I like went to school with and shit like that. Jesus, are you bisexual? Since when are you bisexual? I'm like, oh, when did Christina Aguilera drop the music video for Dirty? Because it was at like around that, it was at exactly that time.
Yeah, it's hard part going to be in the middle of an act. Like some of the bits get covered, like the hemorrhoids and slots and your one's bitch mother and
Coronavirus this, Love Island that. It's incessant, like vuvuzelas of the mind. The Leo Varadkar boy knows well that a serum made from my ancient blood would eradicate all disease. However, he refuses to do the ritually required humiliation dance. And he will give me no virgins to sacrifice. He keeps all of the virgins for himself. Selfish. Day 769 of my isolation. The gays are in mourning. I hear their cries from the back alleys, the saunas, the apartment buildings. Their pride parade was cancelled because of novel coronavirus. Take that, Leo Varadkar! It seems none of us will have any virgins to deal with this day. The gays in their selfishness forget that it was Enya who gave them the first rainbow. It was red for life, orange for healing, yellow for sunshine, green.
But she's a lifestyle influencer, lifestyle influencer. Yeah, fucking wanker. Yeah. But she wrote a book and but don't worry as well. Do not worry, okay? Because she'll only influence your life if you fall into a certain tax bracket, And you guys are all, I don't think that's it. I do not think. Yeah, we're probably. Yeah, I can see why is she here? No, I doubt it. But she did write a book, and it's not the content of the book that I have the issue with, because I didn't read it. But it's the title that I have the issue with, live your best life. Like Papa living her best life and me living my best life are two very different things, Like Papa living her best life is being is being able to dress all of her children in like identical pastel colored clothing, And me living my best life is remembering to take my contraceptive pill so I don't have to dress children in identical pastel colored clothing,
But yeah, back then, it was pretty much very much dog eat dog. Very macho scene. Most 99% male dominated. There was like literally 1 or 2 female comedians.
It was cutthroat. Do you know what I mean? No one would help anyone. No one gave advice. People stood on each other's heads, basically. That was it, And there was like maybe, 6, 7, 8 venues in Dublin, and rotating the same comedians over and over again. They're all buddies, basically. And then eventually they would move to London.
It's a whole thing about like, oh, the jester is the only person who can make fun of the king and all that kind of thing, where it's like a lot of the time you can say things in comedy that you wouldn't be able to say in like a speech or like a TED Talk, unless it's a comedy TED Talk. Or, I think a lot of comedians, and it depends on the style and everything as well, but a lot of comedians part of the art form is finding a way to say often like really difficult things to say, and doing it in a way that it's not going to make the audience uncomfortable, it's not going to kill the whole mood, and it's going to kind of rip the rug out afterwards, and they're going to be like, yeah, I can laugh at that.
And I think that's what will differentiate you from everybody else, is really kind of looking within yourself and seeing everyone is going to talk about this topic in the news, but what can I put on it to, one, make it funny, but two, create kind of an interesting point that it will latch on with people as well.
So my dad's from Waterford and my name is Blaheen, okay? And people do call me Blah, as in like blah. Yeah, thought you guys would like that. And sometimes found covered in white powder. Often, actually, usually. So that's that. That's the blah stuff out of the way.
I was doing some research for my dice laws, and I came across an interesting fact that was completely unrelated to dice laws, but a segue is a segue. So, in the olden times, when people ate crisps, the crisp would just be unflavoured, and if they wanted to add flavour, they would get a little sachet and pour it in, and the sachet would have one flavour, so it would be salt or onion or cheese. And then a man who I didn't write his name down, it's like Timothy Tato, something like that. He made two very important discoveries. One was that you could mix them together and he invented cheese and onion. That was invented by Timothy Tato. And the second was that you could do an advance in a factory and then I wouldn't have to do it. Which are two amazing things, right? But the amazing thing is that happened in 1954. So there are people alive today who had to season their own crisps like cavemen. Like, it blows my mind, like Michael Collins never had a potato, cheese and onion sandwich. And it seems like he feels like he lived on it, you know? He had to have like, Cú Chulainn never put barbecue hula hoops on his fingers.
Who's in here from Dublin? Who? I can tell. How are you finding it down here? In the sticks? Cold. It's the same weather as Dublin. I don't know if you know this, but they're in the same. I know Dublin people think Dublin is New York, but who do you reckon, as a county, who do you reckon has the bigger ego, Cork or fucking Dublin? Cork. See it? I know Cork people do it the whole time. Fucking, I'm from Cork. Cork is brilliant. Fucking love Cork. I swear to God, like if you talk to fucking, I was talking to someone in Dublin, and he asked me. When I told him where I was from, he asked me what I do down here. What does you do? Like, what's you do? I said, what do you mean? What's you do? Like, what's you do for fun? And I said, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do on a given night? He said, I goes to the bookies. I goes to the pub and I watch the fucking film with the wife. And, great, but we don't have pubs or bookies. We're fucking pure unique down there.
Speech course that's called the Maguire program. It isn't a cure for stammering. What it is instead is a course, and it teaches you a series of techniques. And these techniques, they obviously aren't very effective. I tell you, I'm not a great advertisement for this fucking course. They're going like, this lad must be in a fight club because he can't talk about it. That's. Anyway, it teaches you a series of techniques, and they help you be in control of your stammer. And one of them that I personally find incredibly helpful is, we're encouraged to speak in a deep and breathy tone of voice like this. But I try not to because it's a bit creepy. And it can get me into a bit of trouble, okay? 13 years ago, it was my grandmother's funeral.
What I was born in a female body, actually. It's there is a more specific term for that. It's pregnancy. Also, I've got a cunt. Anyway, no, I'm also queer. I identify as bisexual. We have any bisexuals in? Hey, hope the bisexuals. I will be seeing all of you at the bar. No, I'm bisexual, and people will ask me sometimes. They'll be like, Felix, why don't you identify as pansexual? Because that's the trans one. Apparently, it's not. They're wrong, but I've got a joke to tell, so I'm gonna just commit to it. No, the way that I'll tell it, like, bisexual was the first term that I heard that, you know, like, that I felt fit me, you know, so it kind of stuck. But a lot of pans are non-stick, actually, so that's the difference, just if anyone asks. It's a really stupid joke, I'm so sorry.
This is not novel, it's not original. Like, comedians do use comedy as therapy.
Because it's people telling their stories, and it's a really good, I guess, medium for people to, I guess, talk uninterrupted. Because if you try like tell that story in any other kind of medium, people will stop asking questions. But you know what you want to say. You can just, you know exactly how to structure. No, you know how to structure your own story better than anybody else. I guess is the thing. So.
There's certainly been times that the joke has been made either about me or by me. That, you know, if I was fixed, then I'd be boring, or if I was fixed, then I wouldn't have anything to talk about and stuff like that, you know.
I do an awful lot of stuff about mental illness and recovery, just because I don't feel like there's a lot of chat about how weird it is. It sort of goes to please talk and then nothing else. So I just enjoy that. I enjoy kind of pushing people's boundaries a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there is niche elements of this first festival anyway. Who knows how it's going to grow in the future? But absolutely, you know, I think there can be but I think it can also grow into a more conventional festival as well. You can have niche elements, but I think there is space there for, you know, some of the main acts that will come down will be mainstream acts, you know. So as I said, you know, the comedy scene is evolving, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this festival will evolve with that. But one thing is for certain, the Waterford populace want to see live comedy. It's as simple as that.
Waterford has an amazing like art scene. It's a very working class art scene, and I think compared to somewhere like Dublin or Cork, where it tends to be more, there's more money involved. Waterford, it's people making stuff because they love making stuff, and it's people's authentic sense of humor, not filtered through any kind of board or like committee or anything. It's the people who are making it, doing it, and I think that's always been the case with Waterford. I think it's really special.
I love, like you guys can agree, I love when I'm talking about Waterford with people from Waterford, because you can be honest then, right? You can actually say what you feel. Waterford's, it's kind of like that little brother that you have, you don't really get on with, but you bail him out of prison in a heartbeat, and if someone else fucking says something, you know, it's just like, oh yeah, well, the unemployment isn't great, and we've got some structural issues, but you know, the second someone from Dublin says anything, it's like, we have several internationally recognized arts festivals. Several. It's a town when you talk from people from Waterford. If someone from Waterford says it's not a city, it's yes.
Look at me, I'm clearly like, oh my god, Ariana Grande is live, God is a woman, Ariana Grande is live, obviously, right? But like, if we really think about it, right? Okay, isn't it much more likely that God is man? Look at the state of the place. If God were a woman, all right, war would be the name of a lesbian nightclub. Okay? And we'd all be walking around, tits out, bums out, and no fingers in bums without consent ever. Right? If God is did you say, no? Get out! Get out! Just like, don't announce yourself during my set as a sexual assailant. I'm from Dublin. I will beat you up. Like, what's wrong with... No, it's okay, I'm sure. I'm down. No. Just shush in the meantime. I promise you I will pick on you later. I promise. I promise you. I can't wait. Ooh, but your time for speaking is over. Okay. Oh, God. Yeah, no, God, definitely a man, you know, like, and do you know what he is? He's a bad dad, you know. He hasn't made alimony in a while, you know, forgets to pick you up from school because he's too busy smoking meth with his friend Rooster. Yeah, you know, like, God's the kind of dad that he'll buy you drugs, but he won't come to your graduation. You know? It's like, see you on the next visit, God, to prison, you know? God belongs in prison, that's what I'm saying.
Sometimes a thing which I would ask is, I would say, is there anyone here who has any questions about stammering? I stopped asking that question because recently I was doing a show and a woman asked, Do you stammer in sex? And I said, I am not a vibrator. But the goal of her to think that an Irish man would speak during sex. At most we'd say a decade of the rosary, that is it.
Like, you know, shouting back at the comedians, which you're not meant to do because it's not fucking sound. And he shouted at me, he's like, here you fucking, like, your comedy is fucking shit. Like, blah, you're fucking disgraceful, blah, 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 you're fucking shit, blah, blah, you're a disappointment, blah, blah. It kind of took it out of me because, you know, like, fucking... I asked my dad not to come to the game.
Down here, they booked out a whole hotel where all the comedians are staying, so we have to share rooms. Me and Keane are sharing a bed. And he made me top and tail so it wouldn't seem gay, which I think is fucked up and homophobic.
What's going on with shampoo? Come on, seriously. I mean, shampoo, is that the best name for, you know, a hair thingamajig? You want me to put poo in my hair, and it's not even real poo, it's shampoo? You want me to put fake poo in my hair? Fake shit in my hair, what's going on?
I think all artists can make a living in Ireland. It's about changing the perspective of the way that artists are paid, and in terms of how venues work with, like when you look at what goes on, everything happens in the weekend in the back room of a pub. Do you know what I mean? Why isn't there a show of a Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock that people can go to after work? Do you know what I mean? And like, there's not alcohol at it. People are just having water or coffee or whatever. There's this whole kind of ideology tied into kind of like a drinking culture within Ireland that everything only happens because there's alcohol there. But if we can kind of try and change the perspective on that, open up venues to kind of the ideas that, you know, something can happen on a Wednesday evening. Everyone doesn't have to be drunk to enjoy themselves. They can just come to a show and enjoy themselves. I think then you'll see there's more work coming out of it. The development of shows will be better, and then, you know, the money comes rolling in.
The Foolhardy Festival is going to become a huge success. It already is a huge success.